While human greed has led the pollution to an unprecedented level, human need is working towards finding solutions to it. A research initiative launched last week in Kathmandu aims to build a knowledge base on how local communities can deal with the challenges of climate change.
Asia and Africa, two continents most vulnerable to threats of climate change. Most of the world's poor populations inhabit these two continents, exposed to the dangers of global warming. Many international reports have suggested that extreme weather events and water and food shortages will impact Asia and Africa by 2030 and render large sections of cities uninhabitable if the world continues to get warmer at this pace. With an aim to build resilience among local populations and improve livelihoods by informing policy and practice with cross-regional, interdisciplinary insights, a new initiative has started. The collaborative Adaptation Research Initiative in Asia and Africa, CARIAA.
It's bringing some of the best minds in the world to bear on the challenge of coping with a changing climate in Africa and Asia, and how we can put in place strategies to deal with that changing climate and to better adapt to those conditions for better economic development, for improved livelihoods, for improved well-being.
A 7-year program, it aims to take a fresh approach to understanding climate change and finding ways to adapt in some of the most vulnerable regions of Africa and Asia. The initiative was launched in Kathmandu last week.
That idea of engagement of different groups and different stakeholders really in this question of how do we deal with the effects of climate change in a very concrete way so that it makes a difference to the lives of people in Africa and Asia. That engagement and collaboration model is central to CARIAA.
Organized around 4 multi-regional consortia, CARIAA will focus on 3 types of climate hotspots: semi-arid regions, major river deltas, Himalayan river basins.
So these consortia that are being funded through the CARIAA program bring together several leading research organizations or civil society organizations, each bringing a different expertise to bear on a common theme. The program, the CARIAA program, is organized around 3 what we call hotspots, which are zones where we know that climate change is going to have a big impact.
Is to bring some good science to bear on this, to really try to figure out, okay, so what is happening? Not only to the glaciers, also to snow cover. I think that frequently gets forgotten, but also what's happening to the snow, and in particular, how changes in precipitation, so how changes in snowfall and rainfall, how that is shifting, and questions around also the monsoon and atmospheric circulation. So I think there's a host of issues. It's not only the glaciers, we also need to keep in mind snow, rainfall, and the monsoon.
It's a joint initiative by Canada's International Development Research Centre, IDRC, and UK's Department for International Development, DFID. It will be implemented by a number of Asian institutions.
On the ground, innovation. So how are people adapting? So this, we call it autonomous adaptation. It's going on. And to really learn from them in 2 ways. One, their perceptions of climate change. And especially going to the elders and having long conversations with them to really learn about their region, to learn about, their stories about the region, their perceptions of climate change, and how things have been changing in terms of, the glaciers, behavior of the glaciers, in terms of the rainfall and snowfall, in terms of hot and cold, in terms of how rivers are behaving.
I think science needs to include that traditional knowledge, right? I don't think those are separated. A lot of the secrets, right, are found in those communities, and a lot of ways to adapt are already there in the communities.
Many areas of Asia are highly vulnerable to climate change. Changes in temperature and precipitation will affect snow and ice in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, and atmospheric circulation patterns that drive the South Asian summer monsoon. These changes could put the livelihoods of millions at risk, Collaboration on adaptation research holds large-scale mutual benefits to both Africa and Asia.
Right from the onset, we have to engage communities where we're working. We have to engage the policymakers and planners who will be also interacting with those communities to make sure that that knowledge is taken up. But throughout the program, we also interact with media.
It will enrich our knowledge of options available to help the most vulnerable populations in a wide range of countries and regions.